Hello, guys. Well, I promised you we're gonna talk. There was like an explosive articles that came out recently. We were gonna check them out. No, it's not this one. In fact, it's not on this video. I thought before I do that, because there's a lot of background information, it will probably not recap for us. So why not catch sort of a refresher? Without going to the past, just by checking the latest news and see various characters pop up at the same time. It gives us like a little refresher in our mind, some of these people, some of these gangsters, and then when we actually read the other ones, which are pretty big, we're gonna enjoy them more, we're gonna appreciate them more. All right, so let's go straight up to it. First off, remember United Nations gang? Well, one of the leaders was arrested. He was on the run for like 10 years. Then he was arrested maybe last year or so. I can't remember the dates. His name was Connor Demont, and he's finally in the BC court. This news is from March 22nd. Demont was charged in the 2011 first-degree offing of rival Red Scorpion gangster Kevin Leclerc. That was a big news. Every photo you look at the Red Scorpions, when you do check the newspapers, often they'll show you Jamie Bacon on a balcony, I think, or one of the Bacon brothers on the balcony with Kevin Leclerc in that photo. But Kevin Leclerc passed to the shadow realm a long time ago. It's unfortunate. I've always asked myself, why do people leave this earth so quick? What's going on? It happens over and over again. I find it sad, regardless of who it is. People go and make the wrong choice, and of course, some of them, they kind of deserve it, type of thing. But who am I here to judge? Anyways, so we finally find out, or recently, or maybe they already knew, but for me it's new. I don't how can I say, I'm a fan of reading in the stories from BC. They're mind-blowing, but I'm not up to date all the time. Actually, I'm not up to date very often, but I do like to do it because it'll help us understand what's going on. BC's a major piece of the puzzle for Canada. Major. Hi, Adriana Costanzo. Welcome, friend. Happy to have you. Very happy to have you. It's an honor. So, Adriana, we're looking at the episode today is just going to be checking on the news updates recently, in order to get a refresher on the names, on the affiliations, things like that. Because I want to do another one where there's a series of bombshell articles that came out, and I'm saying bombshell. I just glanced at them because I like to be surprised. I don't want to read them twice. It loses the when I read it with you. And then you'll hear me talk, and it might sound more boring. Like, I'm trying to keep it fresh for myself. It becomes more interesting for you guys. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate you. I appreciate having lovely people like you, kind people like you. Thank you so much. I do mean it with my heart. Thank you. So that's it, Adriana, where we're going to recap. We're going to check some latest news, of course. I won't go to the past to recap, so it's fresh for you guys. So Connor Demont was arrested, and now he's finally facing court. Let's see what they're going to be able to give us. What was interesting? Let's see if they're going to even resume what happened with him. So alleged United Nations offer, Connor Demont made a brief appearance in the BC Supreme Court on Friday. So after being returned from Puerto Rico. Remember, he was on a run for like 10 years, hiding in a new identity. He was, I don't know, a Jehovah's Witness or a congregation member of some Christian group or something, hiding there. You wonder if he really repented or not. And did he make enough money to live there, Was he living off the fruits of that labor he made in Canada? Probably. But Demont was charged in the Kevin Leclerc offing. We know that. And a conspiracy to get Jonathan, Jared, and Jamie Bacon. And by the way, YouTube, this is an informational report, educational, to educate people across Canada or the world for what's going on here. Putting the pieces of the puzzle together. It is also journalistic, although I take no credit. The true journalists are the people writing all these articles, such as the Vancouver Sun this time. Now, the 46-year-old Vancouverite native fled the country, remained a fugitive until he was arrested in 2022. There you go. Not last year, the year before that, where he was living under a fake name. Let's see what else they're giving us. So how did he catch him? They worked closely with the U.S. Marshal Service. Interesting, He's Canadian, doesn't really have anything to do with America. He fled to Puerto Rico. I guess Puerto Rico is considered U.S. territory or something. Probably that's why. So they helped out both countries as well as the integrated. I can't say that word. Demont gets returned to Canada. Here's a more fresher picture of the guy. Hi, respecting hip hop. Welcome, buddy. This is Demont. I guess fresh picture from with his lawyer on January 24th. Chief Officer Manny Man. He's famous officer in Vancouver. You keep hearing his name popping up over and over and over again, and not recently. Like, I mean, for more than a decade, if my memory serves me. So note the similarity. Just like other fugitives from British Columbia, Rabi Al Killa, that's the nickname I give him, but is Al Khalil, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, who is one of the most Canadian most wanted. Al Khalil's still somewhere hiding. They'll never catch him if we take the track record of the Middle Easterns, like the other dude, I forgot his name, the Iranian from BC who fled over 10 years ago or 20 years ago. He's never been caught. The gang boss, I forgot, Omid. Something like that, Omid, if I remember. But Al Khalil is a convicted officer from the rival Wolfpack gang who escaped. Now, note this part. I want you guys to remember this for the next episode, guys. This is going to be key when we do that big report I'm telling you about. Remember, guys, okay? It's the obvious. I know. This is the obvious. You guys know this. I just really want to cement this in your head for the shocker that's going to come, okay? Al Khalil is a convicted officer from the rival Wolfpack gang. A rival of who? Of the UN. Now, I'm not talking about, I want you to note this, we are not talking about some fruit, how do you say, low-hanging fruits that are rivals. We're talking about the leadership that are rivals. The leadership, the higher bosses, the higher level gangsters from the UN have a rivalry with the Wolfpack gang. Now, we need to elaborate. Within the Wolfpack, historically, we have the what do you call them? The independent soldiers. I thought the name is pretty badass. We have Red Scorpions. We had Hell's Angels. Those three were the Wolfpack, are part of the Wolfpack. Remember that, against the UN. I repeat, remember that for next episode for the shocker. It will blow your mind. And so let's keep going. We know he escaped from North Fraser. DeMonte next court appearance is April 3rd. I was looking if they added anything for us. So first thing we need to note is DeMont challenged his extradition from the U.S. but lost in November. Imagine that, challenging for crimes you committed in Canada, The nerves, man, these days. He then, it's as if they're going to bring you to Canada and they're going to tee you, and the officials are going to tee you. They're going to board you, with water or things like that, The nerves, man. Claiming that the information provided by Canada did not satisfy due process standards applicable in this case and reached the necessary probable cause threshold. This court should decline to certify extradition. That's why they call lawyers, or it almost sounds like liars. But he dropped the appeal in January and agreed to return to Canada. In a statement he released 2 months ago, DeMont said that he disappeared only because of the threats against him and his family. Did you bring your family, or did you just go by yourself? I left Canada 13 years ago, not to avoid trial, yeah, right, and run from this allegation, but to escape certain threats, putting the lives of my young children and family in extreme danger. I wonder if he moved with them, That would be a good case for him if he did, But, once upon a time, we would have said, come on, DeMont, they're not going to do anything to your kids. They're not going to go that way. But recently, we get some indications, it seems, that his gang have been targeting the Brothers Keepers and their families. Now DeMont is from another generation. I keep telling you, when I made those international Canadian gangster, I made that, how you call it? I made that separation. I said like first wave or second wave progenies, third wave progenies, to separate them, because certain things, it seems like they only happened, they didn't happen before, are happening now. It's good to separate them. So DeMont was not from that era. He's claiming that his young children were in danger. That's one thing to think about. We don't have the truth here. We don't know. We're only speculating. But if you consider this theory, this version. Good day. Oh, my man DJ. What's up, my man? Well, happy to have you, bud. Thank you so much for also helping me out, DJ. God bless. We got DC, the two-letter man as well. Good morning, Forger and the crafty ones. Good morning, DC. With the two letters, they say everything. They're good guys. My guys. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you a lot, bro. And so DJ and DC, if just in case you were joining, we got a big report that came out. Huge, in my opinion. I just glanced at them. But we're not doing them today because if I just jump on that, it's not going to taste as good as if we get some background information. So instead of going to the past real long ago and kind of wasting your time recapping, we're still checking the latest news. But in order to refresh a little bit. That's why I'm elaborating on this article that we're reading, which is pretty fresh too. It's like a March 22, I think, or something, on the UN gang boss. So Leclerc, a former member of the UN who had joined the rival Red Scorpions, was offed as he left a restaurant in Langley's, Thunderbird, as usual in BC as they leave the restaurant. In Montreal, the mafiosos, they seem to be leaving the gym when they get offed. But they don't learn the lessons. They still want to go to the gym. All this money, a house with a garage and all that, they still think it's a good idea to go to the gym. But UN hitman Corey Vallée, or Valley, I'm not sure how you say it in the Canuck land, on the western part. Me, I'm a Quebecer, so for me, it's like a Corey Valley, I think it sounds more cool like that too. Was convicted on first degree in the case of in his 2018 case. Other UN gangsters pled guilty to conspiracy to off various scorpions over several months in 2008, 2009. Imagine that, guys. We are not yet 20 years, but we're 2024, man. 4 more years, it'll be 20 years of this stuff, guys. Of course, it goes back to the Bindi Johal era. Here we have a fresh new picture we didn't have before available. Connor Demont, using his entrepreneurial skills to, I guess, renovate a home. He says, Connor Demont, also known as, my apologies, Johnny Williams, when he was living in San Juan, Puerto Rico, working on a bee education center, giving back to the community. He had changed his life. Truly, I don't think he was doing anything there. Plus, we would have probably had a bombshell coming up telling us a little bit of more details. It seemed like he truly escaped, and that was that. And who else we got? Good morning, the middleman. What's up, bud? How you doing, buddy? Costanzo, I know that last name. Costanzo, I already forgot. Oh, sorry. So I was thinking, is that from the article? And Forger back at work this afternoon. Oh, really? You talking about me? I thought you were going back to work. Yeah, dude. You know what? Before I continue, they did ding the other video with the Hells Angels and the real estate stuff. But that's the first ding that I truly have no problem with it. It was because of all the swearing in that video from Di Popolo. I respect YouTube on this one thing. Usually you swear one or twice, they let you go. They don't even bother you. You're fine. So I'm totally okay. I'm like, that's the one time that they really are. They're doing it, like, in my opinion, finally. Not just dinging your video because someone swears. No, it had to have a lot of it. So it did get dinged. It's gonna be available for at least a month, guys. So whoever didn't see it, if you do want to see it, watch it. Watch it, because eventually I'll remove it. It's just taking place there. It's giving me nothing back. And on top of it, YouTube is still playing the ads. It's playing tons of ads, and people are getting bombarded with them every 30 seconds, So I don't want to give them that honor of messing me over and then giving me absolutely nothing for it too, Exploitation. So no way. I'm going to remove that eventually. Maybe just make it available for the members. That's the only reason I would leave it there, is because I don't want to insult those people who donated, Although it's a donation, I still not... It's like... They donated. I don't want to, I can't, I have loyalty. I can't help it. I'm going to leave it probably for them. But of course, I don't want to accumulate those kinds of videos, because then one day it'll come back to bite me, So it'll be limited for a while and maybe eventually removed. But I want to give them extra time. But I'll leave it there for at least a month, guys. And also, yeah, never mind. I don't want to bore you guys with that. Let's go to the next one, my friend. Ken Jacobs, what's up, buddy? Horses Malone. Oh, Terre-Neuve. Welcome, Horses Malone. Welcome. And Ken Jacobs and Javier Latin. Hola, hermano. Welcome. So, next one. Son of East End Hells Angels charged with a 2023 offing. Do you remember? Did you guys watch the episode that I made, storytelling with Fallen Angels? It's called Fallen Angels. It's about the Hells Angels in BC. It's the very last one about Hells Angels in BC. We talked about a Lloyd Robinson in that video, remember? And it was about situations 20 years ago. Funny, because this does connect with our latest Di Popolo. You know, they all knew each other. They're all from the same generation, you see? They've been working a long time together. They know each other for sure, you know? Maybe they were friends once upon a time. But in that video, you remember, there was a Lloyd Robinson, and he had a son. I think there was a picture of him with a younger guy. They were on a dining table. If you check that video out, you'll see. So maybe they're talking about that kid that was with him, you know? And they looked like they were all Hells Angels there. It says, son of original East End Hells Angel charged with 2023 offing. Lloyd Robinson, 40, was arrested in Kelowna on one count of second degree in shanking on May 27th, 2023 of Jonathan Bullock. There you go. There you go. So this is Lloyd Peter Robinson, the son of an original East End Hells Angel, arrested on February 16th. So this is kind of fresh. 10 years after he was convicted, you know, in the cabbie, I'm afraid of saying the word, but, you know, this part. So apparently he was a taxi driver. He went on, he did some, you know what, on a taxi driver. Finally, 10 years later, he got charged, it says. Vancouver police announced Friday that Lloyd Robinson, 40, was arrested in Kelowna on one count of second degree. We read that part. Bullock was shanked in around 10 p.m. following an altercation near Davie and Butte Street in Vancouver's East End, and he was taken to the hospital. Note the East End. Oh, this is the West End. My apologies. West End. I thought I saw East End. I was about to say something else. VPD's investigators spent more than 8 months gathering evidence. Okay, nothing interesting there. In 2014, Robinson was sentenced to 16 months in prison after he pleaded guilty of, you know what, smashing in the face of a yellow cab driver after making racial slurs to him. Let me guess, the taxi driver was Indo-Canadian? At the time, the driver told Post Media that Robinson tried to cover the security camera in the taxi and didn't want to pay the $6.60 fare. What a cheapo. Make all that money, you can't give him his due for that trip. Robinson's father, Louis Robinson, that's the guy, that's the father, was an original member of the East End Hells, but retired from the club after a major undercover investigation in which police agent Michael Plante, remember, infiltrated the gang by getting close to him. Now it says the younger Robinson was mentioned in Plante's evidence, or Plant, I'm not sure how you say it. For me, it's Plante, but let's say Plant evidence in BC's government's civil forfeiture case against bikers. When the agent testified, Louis Robinson made him drive his son to and from work and to the gym. And Plant said that in 2003, he drove Mr. Robinson's son to a hotel in Pennington to hide him out. East End chapter president John Bryce is Lloyd Robinson's uncle. Lloyd Robinson has other convictions, 2018, in Kelowna 2012, but resulted in probation orders only. No surprise, welcome to Canada. He also faced allegations of uttering threats in 2012, after which a peace bond was issued. Okay, in 2004, he was sentenced to 2 years in jail for a baseball bat, on a teenager outside of a Park Royal Ship shopping center. Man. Good guys, bunch of good guys, Okay. All right, let's get to the next one. Notorious BC gangster Jamie Bacon denied release, will serve full sentence. By the way, there's a new documentary. You can find it online. I forgot the name. On YouTube, of course. I forgot. It's like I think it's a major Canadian chain or something that they made it. It talks about the Surrey 6. It's brand. It's fresh. It's fresh. It came out like maybe less than 2 weeks ago, a week or 2 weeks ago. You guys should try to look and find it, guys. It's okay, there's two parts so far. There's two parts. The first part is extremely boring. It pretty much just gives the mother of one of the victims like the whole hour to talk and talk about the same thing over and over, rub it in the face of all the perpetrators. But it's just that, I really didn't enjoy it much. No offense to her. But then the second part, you actually see the face of Jimmy Bacon. You actually see the other people, and they show a lot more of the details of what happened in that apartment, which is fascinating. So notorious. So that's why he's jailed since, right? Red Scorpion gangster who pleaded guilty in 2020 to conspiracy in the Surrey Six slayings and to playing a role in the second murder plot. Frick, shouldn't have done that, huh? Not on my channel. It's gonna get me dinged. Was eligible for statutory release after serving 2/3 of his sentence. You know the Canada law. He was eligible, guys, after 2/3. Doesn't matter what he does, he'll get 2/3. But maybe the common sense prevailed. For another 2 years, that's the mother. Aileen Mohan won't have to worry about the gangster who set in motion the rampage. Can't say that either. That left her son, Christopher, and 5 others offed. Can't say the other word either. Can't say ish. Mohan recently wrote to the Parole Board of Canada and urged them not to release Red Scorpion boss after he served 2/3 of his sentence. The board decided to detain Bacon past his statutory release, saying that if he was let out, he was likely to commit an offense causing Shadow Realm and harm to another person. So now the mother says, this means I don't have to worry about anything until April 2026. After you watch that documentary, my friend, you can't blame her. She'll be up his butt for sure, making sure, I can't emphasize how grateful I am to the board. This makes me truly pleased and thankful. Yeah, okay. No new details. So they denied him the parole, guys, While the board members didn't... Let me just see something. Wait a second. Look at this part. He was sentenced to a net term of 5 years and 7 months after credit for 11 spent in pretrial custody. Parole board member Jonathan Lemieux and Lisa Graham cited the plot as well as Bacon's continued criminality in prison as reasons for the detention order. Now, need I remind you that truly, around 2017, which is a while after he was in prison, he was in jail. If you checked International Canadian Gangster episode 2, I think, the last one that I released, the very last one, you will find out that while he was in jail, he was basically beefing with another guy. Forget his name's not coming to me. Greywall, who was probably part of his network, and Greywall left to create his own Brothers Keepers. They were feuding, and that led one chain. That chain of event led to the next, which the next was the the Bebo guys going detaching from the BK, becoming Bebo, and then you heard about what's his name, the Kang brothers offing Greywall after that, and then back and forth. Basically, this back and forth, the Kangs got off to only one brother remains, and at the source, if you believe the reports, it comes from a beef that started in prison. So that's in like 2017-ish, right? So it does follow what Jonathan Lemieux and Lisa Graham, or the courts they're saying that he's still involved in criminality while in prison. And now here's a quote. During your first federal sentence, you engaged in intimidation, muscling, and organizing, they said in a written statement released on Monday, February 5th. Bacon was also involved. Look, there it is. Bacon was also involved in starting a conflict with another group in 2017, quote, resulting in numerous offings and attempted offings in the community, not in prison, in the community, as well as, all the other stuff. In federal prison also, this happened. While the board didn't name the rival group, at the time, Bacon was identified as being involved in escalating beef between his old gang and the Brothers Keepers gang, as well as some in the wolf pack. You have demonstrated you are willing to orchestrate the use of, you know what, in institutions to exert your control. The parole board, you know the rest. So the parole board noted that Bacon 38 is a high-profile offender due to your previous high-ranking status in the gang. Police have issued multiple public warnings that anyone associating with you and your brothers were potentially in danger. Yeah, this is all. Let me keep going. Look at this. During his time behind bars, here's fresh information. Bacon was involved in, quote, multiple incidents involving assaults, weapons, disruptive behavior. You received mail that had brown spots on the letter, which tested positive for M&Ms. Engaged in several inmate fights. Had a shank weapon. The units here, and bottles of urine in your cell. Yeah, see, it keeps going. The list keeps going. At the onset of his incarceration, file information indicates that he was immediately seen as an offender of influence. Other offenders within the institution were seen passing clothes and various canteen items to Bacon underneath a fire door. He has involved himself in a number of inmate assaults, either as an instigator or intervener. Okay, yeah. You claim you're... Bacon no longer has contact with his family, is taking university courses in jail, has a girlfriend, but if faced with high-risk situation, your return to negative behaviors are very likely. Okay, that's a good summary. Let's go to the next one, guys, because it's the same line of news. Crown and BC Hells Angels Larry Amero both file appeals after his conspiracy conviction. So he's filing for appeal. Larry Amero, another member or ex-member, not sure, of the Wolfpack Alliance, one of the founders, representative from the Hells Angels. Was it Hard Rock chapters or White Rock chapter or something like that? Now, video surveillance footage from inside and around the Sheraton Wall Center, both before and after Sandip Duray's offing, was a key part of the evidence. Remember, this is good that this comes up because it'll help us understand that mega report that's going to come, that we're going to read together. Note, the UN was at war with Red Scorpions, Larry Amero, and independent soldiers. They took it to the next level when they decided they were going to off one of the leaders of the alliance on the UN side. It was like UN with Sandeep Duray's gang with Gurmit Dak. Remember Gurmit Dak? The interview from prison, he predicted his own offing. Yeah, there's a lot of things to go through, but it's very, very important. Note, Sandip Duray was off in front. He was dining in the Sheraton Hotel. This was a long time ago now. Maybe, I'm not sure how many years, close to 20 years or so, 15 years or so. And they found camera surveillance inside the Sheraton Hotel. Before he got off, a few moments before, Rabi Al-Khalil, inside of that hotel, maybe at the bar, pretending to grab a drink. But what he was doing, he was pointing out to the hitman who he had hired, which was probably Dean Wickwar. You know who I'm talking about? Dean Wickwar. If you check out, we did an episode, one of the storytelling episodes. I think we covered that. He was there and he pointed. Yeah, I think he was in International Canadian Gangster Part 1, I think. Or Episode 1, I think. 1 or 2. No, I think it was 1. Well, he pointed at who he was there. He was there on the scene, guys. He was there on the scene pointing at Duray secretly so that Dean Wickwar could come in and then start spraying the place. Okay, that's a summary. Remember, targeting the UN gang and their affiliates. Remember that very strongly. You see how much they hated each other Do you see how much animosity there was? They wanted to wipe each other out. I really need to stress this for the bombshells that's going to come your way. Now, here's a picture. How fitting, exactly who I wanted to. So we have Rabbi Al Khalil. That's not really who I wanted. Right there on the left. We have Larry Amero right there. Probably his niece or his cousin or something. Probably, not sure. If it was, eventually she would pay the price. She would become a handicap because when the UN affiliates went to get revenge, they remember what's his name, man? Juar Kun Kun with another dude. I think it was Corey Valet. I think. Don't quote me, but they came in with the ARs and they sprayed Porsche where Jonathan Bacon was it? I think it was Jonathan. Could be wrong. But one of the Bacon brothers with Larry were in the car. They got sprayed. The niece was there. Guess who has a lifetime problem now? Changed her life completely. Now on the right was who I was mentioning. That's very important for next episode. James Riak. Now we have all three forming the Wolfpack coalition or gang, if you will. That's the independent soldier right there. Clearly, they were friends. They formed a new coalition together, which one of their missions, even if they made it, maybe it's not the only reason they came together, but one of their missions was to wipe out the UN and those who work for the UN, their affiliates, all of them, and to take over the stupefier trade in East Vancouver, for example, probably Kelowna to anywhere that they could. So you have him right there, James Riak. Remember this, guys. Remember this photo right here. Let's keep going. So BC Hells Angels Larry Amero has filed an appeal for both of his convictions. And by the way, Rabbi was waiting for his own conviction. He was waiting for his own court date. They were going to throw the book at him. But I think they transferred him to was it a medium security prison or a minimum security prison? I'm not sure. But from that Fraser prison, he managed to escape. Like a movie. He escaped from prison, guys. You can't make this stuff up. He escaped, he got away. Before they threw the book at him. Now, poor Larry, they were going to throw the book at him. After all this, the Sheraton Hotel and all that. So now, we're in Canada land, You can be guilty as sin and you can appeal, So, Larry Amero both file appeals after his murder. Oh, dang, I shouldn't have said that word, but you know what? Fortunately, you can't. It ruins my channel. Let's keep going. So, he filed an appeal on both. The 18-year sentence he received for his role in 2012 slaying, you know what? This high-profile case in which both targets were offed. Anyways, have also appealed, asking the BC highest court to instead impose a life sentence on Amero. I really don't understand, I don't understand what the difference really is. I don't really get it. I guess if he's in Canada, they want this because it's a better situation for him. Clearly, they won't propose something worse. They're trying to go for something more lenient. Just imagine that. You're trying to go for something more lenient for your client. How far-fetched that you're going for, quote, life sentence. That means the life sentence a joke. That's why. That's why they're going for life sentence. Probably life sentence means 15 years, maybe eligible for parole, or after 15 or before that on good behavior, 2/3 of the 15 served, some crazy-ish like that, But, yeah, it's pretty funny, Only in Canada, where you're trying to reduce your problems by appealing for a life sentence, Clown world we live in. Damien Darby of the BC Prosecution Service said Tuesday that the appeals likely won't be heard until 2025, next year. The matter is back in court on April 16. Documents filed this year by Amero's lawyers, Hoven Patty and Josh Opal, argued the BC Supreme Court Justice Myriam Maisonville made several mistakes during the long-running jury trial. Amero was convicted in August 2022 on the conspiracy to off rival gangsters Sandip Dure, and I'm afraid of saying that word because it sounds really wrong, you know? I'll just say Dak. You imagine. You read the name yourself. Try to say it. Say the name like an onomatopoeia, or I think that's what you call it. Say it over and over. Say it over and over and tell me what it sounds like. It's going to ding me for sure. Over several months in 2011 and 2012, Dure was gunned down on January 17th, 2012, in the busy lobby of, we just read that before, but on December 11th, 2023, Maisonville handed Amero an 18-year sentence, minus credit for pretrial custody. It amounted to a net term of 9 years and 2 months. For everything he did, 9 years and 2 months not good enough. He wants less than that. But for some reason, applying for a life sentence is going to be less than that. Or else, why would you do it? Why would you do it? You know, I have no legal knowledge. I don't understand none of it. But I think when you appeal something, it's because you want a better outcome. So 9.5 years is not a better outcome than life sentence in Canada. You do the math, friend. Patty and Opal said in their appeal document that Maisonville erred in her consideration on the various charter violations, which should have resulted in exclusion of some evidence in the case. You can't make this stuff up. You cannot, I'm not even going to comment on that. But here's a photo. He says Rabbi Al-Khalil and BC Hell's Angel Larry Amero were convicted. But it doesn't look like Rabbi to me. It looks more like James Riak to me here. Something's off for me. It looks like James Riak. This looks like Amero. Maisonville erred in allowing highly prejudicial evidence of limited probative value to go before the jury. What does that change? If he's guilty, he's guilty, This clown world we live in. But Patty and Opal said in the document, the evidence included some, I can't say that word, but crimes, you can't even say that. Photos of Dure lying on the floor of the lobby's restaurant. You know the rest. I can't read that. With a tablecloth around his head. The lawyers also argued that Amero should have been granted a separate trial from his co-accused Rabbi Al-Khalil. Unlike Amero, Al-Khalil was charged with first degree of Dure, but escaped from North Fraser. Yeah, we know that. Now, the other error they're saying is when she instructed the jury to consider messages sent to a co-accused to be admissible against the appellant Amero if they believed the co-accused was probably a member of the conspiracy. I just don't understand what it's saying, guys. Maybe some of you do. They also said Amero's application to have his charges stayed due to delays in the case should have been allowed. And on sentencing, they said Maisonville should have given Amero more credit for the detention conditions. Remember he was complaining about hot water? Remember that one? They wanted the verdict set aside and either an acquittal entered or a new trial ordered. They also are seeking to have the sentence set aside and a fit sentence wherein proper credit is granted for pretrial detention conditions. You see that? You see the play here? For the hot water he was drinking, because he wanted some cold ones, they were saying, man, you know what? When you do give him credit, we can't give him standard credit, whatever it was, times and a half. No. They're probably going to aim for 2, maybe 3, who knows? It's hilarious. Can't make this stuff up. Welcome to Canada, boys. Prosecutor Suzanne Elliott filed a Crown appeal document, also arguing that Maisonville erred by not giving, the prosecutors saying, doubling down, not giving Amero a harsher sentence. The judge erred in principle in her consideration of the aggravating mitigating factors, the Crown appeal document said, adding that the judge also erred by, quote, by failing to impose a sentence that was proportionate to the gravity of the offenses and the degree of responsibility of the offender. Elliott said the sentence should be set aside and a life sentence should be imposed. Okay, now maybe this is what they meant earlier. I'm a little bit confused about the story. Amero, one of the founding members of the Wolfpack Alliance, was seriously wounded in 2011 shooting in Kelowna. Dang, I shouldn't do that. Left his best friend, fellow gangster Jonathan Bacon, oft. Their associate James Riak escaped uninjured, while the two women in the same vehicle as the gangsters were also, told you one of them was his niece. Completely innocent bystander there. So at the trial, the Crown said the Kelowna attempted offings were set in motion by the United Nations gang, that the plot against both Dure and Dak were in retaliation. From my understanding, it's not that this is a wordplay here. From my understanding, Dak didn't really want to go through any of this. They were edging for a fight, basically. They wouldn't leave him alone. He was willing to negotiate. It seems like they were not. They wanted a whole piece of the pie, no questions asked. The supremacy thing, Here's ID cards, Ontario, Alkalil. Let me just zoom in. Ontario, Alkalil, healthcare card. Not sure which province. I'm not. Here's his NDL, Alkalil. Delivery, driver's license, BC. Got it. Probably that's BC, right? Healthcare card, probably. Yeah, I see a Columbia there. RBC cards. Visa Infinite Avion. I'm not seeing the name. I'm not sure what name's there. We got the social insurance of Rabbi Al-Khalil. Definitely him again. Al-Khalil, I see here. This one's on Ontario driving license. We have his passport when he did come to Canada. Or not passport, sorry. Canadian citizenship card. The day he went to take the photo, that's what he looked like as a kid. And another RBC. I guess it's a debit card this time. Not sure. Not probably a credit card. I'm not even sure, guys. Nowadays, you have the debit credit card together, the debit card with Visa on it. Now it says, okay, we're getting some. So this was, by the way, this was seized at his Montreal penthouse. Remember that? That he shared with Larry Amero. Now let's look at here. It says, let me just zoom out. Sorry, guys. Al-Khalil had his own reasons for wanting Dure offed. Dure and his brothers had been at war with the Al-Khalil brothers since they were in teens. So they know each other since they were teens. This is new to me, man. At trial, Crown relied on incriminating messages on encrypted devices found in the Montreal penthouse Amero and Al-Khalil shared in 2012. The Amero messages were sent under the name Skullbuster and Birdman. Al-Khalil used the handle Where's Waldo and for a brief time Sideswiper. At one point, Skullbuster, which is Amero, said to Where's Waldo, Al-Khalil, that if he was, quote, he was healed, we would have already drilled back, done this properly. Quote ends. After Dure was offed, Sideswiper, Al-Khalil, wrote, quote, dips offed, Sandip Dure, and, quote, this, I can't read this, CHK, check the Vancouver News, probably what they mean. Check the Vancouver News this week, lol, laugh out loud. We put this city upside down. Told you he enjoyed what he was doing. Video surveillance footage from inside and around Sheraton Wall Center, both before and after Dure's offing, was also key part of the evidence. Told you they caught Al-Khalil there. There's a photo of him with a baseball cap. You know what I'm talking? Casquette? I don't know how you say it in English, but it shows Dure and a friend crossing the hotel lobby to enter the restaurant as members of the Cuban women's soccer team mill around. Al-Khalil and Riak can be seen inside the lobby. So if there was any doubt that Riak had something to do with it, there you go, confirmation. He was in the plot to off the UN for sure, all three of them with no questions asked, as well as walking on a sidewalk nearby. So they were seen inside the lobby. The offer walks through the same door that Dure entered across the lobby and out of view until he surprised them. While the actual offing is not captured on video, the aftermath is dozens of people running for their lives. So he's appealing, in other words, and showing us the tongue, laughing at us. I'm kidding. All right, next story. We're going to fresh stuff. Of course, that was fresh news too. But when I mean fresh stuff, I mean news stories, related or unrelated, but news stories. BC seeks to seize Richmond condo where stupefying chemicals were found. April 1st, April Fool's joke yesterday. Richmond RCMP alleges officers found tens of thousands of dollars, precursor chems, in a luxury suit. Wonder what kind of precursor chems. Is it for fabricating M&Ms or for the fent? Because BC does have a fent problem. I'm leaning more towards the fent, but we'll find out probably. Just before Christmas, Richmond RCMP officers entered a luxury condo overlooking the Fraser River, where they allege they found tens of thousands of dollars in boxes full of chems used to make Fenty and M&Ms. What did I tell you? Right on the ball. Right on the ball. And I promise you, I don't read these. Don't read them in advance. While no charges have been filed against the residents of the unit at 5131 Bright House Way, the BC government wants to seize the $3.2 million condo. Imagine that, owning a $3.2 million condo. I think it's the only people that can afford to live in BC. Those who bought properties in the early 90s, those who inherited intergenerational wealth, not their fault, or the millionaires, CEOs, executives, or actors, or what was I going to say? Or these stupefier dealers. You can almost not blame them for wanting to sell stupefyers. Who wants to leave the province defeated? Having known they wasted their life there and making $50K a year, you're never going to, probably not even gonna be able to rent a place for yourself. You can't, no, but they knew this problem. They did not want to fix it for 40, 50 years. But you go right ahead, bud. My friend, keep voting for liberal or conservative, as you've been doing. Keep this thing going on over and over and over again. But don't worry, the solution has been proposed by Justin Trudeau. If you miss a payment, now it goes in your credit files. Genius solution, guys. And he's telling you he's fixing it. You gotta be kidding. The director of civil forfeiture filed a lawsuit earlier this month against the owner, Ya Ran Li, and her spouse, Tian Yi Zhang, asking that the 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom unit with an Italian kitchen should be forfeited to the government. And I forgot to add, listen, I listen to Asian music. I watch Asian movies. I'm literally watching a Japanese movie now. I love that. I love that area. I love their culture. I love everything. There's absolutely no ill will in my heart. But when people here can't afford to buy homes, why are they bringing millionaires to come here buy properties? Just driving the price up, and this is not conjecture. This is what's been happening for 30, 40 years or 20 years, whatever, 30 years at least, nonstop, Well, people who grew up here, they're getting evicted, they're fleeing the province, And no, it's not a race thing. It's just the fact that if they come from those countries, they have so much money and they're buying up all these properties. It's not right. It's not right. You should be taking care of your current citizens, making sure their lives improve. At the least, you should make sure their lives don't get worse. But yeah, no, don't worry about it, guys. It's better. Be like Rabbi Al-Khalil, The insanity, Target a life sentence for yourself, This is how Canada works, backwards. The statement of claim says the RCMP officers arrested Zhang Li and an unnamed associate on December 20th, 2023, then searched the waterfront unit. The lawsuit said Zhang and an associate picked up 2 boxes from the concierge desk of the property strata building that day. The first box contained 5 heat-sealed foil bags, each weighing approximately 5 kgs. 1 bag of iodine, 4 bags of sodium hydroxide, the document alleged. The second box also contained 5 heat-sealed bags, which weighed approximately 5 kgs, 3 bags of iodine, and 2 bags of benzomethylketone. So these are the precursors. We assume by the answer we found, it's for M&Ms and for Fent. Oh, here it says all 3 are used for M&Ms here. Zhang and his associate carried the boxes to the fifth floor, appeared to be headed to a 2760 square foot condo when police moved in, arrested them for importing a controlled, into Canada, possession of precursors, the director alleged. Okay. The boxes were addressed to Lee, who was at home at the time, and also taken in custody. There's a problem with that part. Anyone can ship anything to anyone. If I want right now, for example, I could take, I don't know, find some cane, put it in the mail, and mail it to your address. Anyone could send anyone, the person receiving it. What happens if someone gets set up like this? Anyone just received randomly a package to his home. I can write your name on the box and send it to your place. I don't think that's enough evidence, but probably they found, like we said, they found a bunch of stuff. So that cancels it out. That makes it a for sure thing. When they got inside of his place and they found all those precursors. I guess, I digress on that part. Inside the suit, police seized cash, 53,650 Canadian, bundled packages in a manner not consistent with standard banking practices, as well as cash counting machines. Sorry, guys. There were also 2 more cardboard boxes, each weighing approximately 25 kgs, containing a white powder located under the stairs close to most of the cash. Inside was a chemical called 4-fluoroanilino 1-buck piperidine. Man, how would you pronounce this without it? Would it be 4FA1BP? Yeah, that's got to be it. That's the street name, 4FA1BP. According to the Federal Health Department, these chems are used to make Fenties. It has been restricted since July 2022 after the government added it to a list of banned. The rest. The civil forfeiture director said the condo should be forfeited because it, as well as the money and the machine, are proceeds of instruments of unlawful activity. What a beautiful, convoluted way of saying it, man. The crimes alleged include importing, producing, possessing stupefactors for all purposes of trafficking, as well as conspiracy, money laundering, and the rest. And failure to declare taxable income. What are they going to do? How could you charge someone for failing to declare stupefier income? That's insanity. They should remove these kinds of charges. It gets ridiculous. The condo was listed for sale in the spring of 2021 for $3.5 million and was advertised as having unobstructed river views and mountain views from huge decks. Lee bought it for $300,000 less, obtained a mortgage, and took possession in September 2021. So I guess he has a business, legitimate, so he could get that mortgage. So maybe he didn't declare correct income from his legitimate business. Maybe that's why they were pressing that charge. Neither Lee nor Zhang have filed statements of defense. The allegations have not been proven. The RCMP revealed that Canadian transnational criminals are now producing M&Ms and Fenty in super labs, across the country to export to the U.S. and overseas. I would probably venture to say Australia. The prices are so expensive there for cane, for example, that it's so profitable if you could just get it there without getting caught. All right, next story. Downtown Vancouver attempted offing linked to BC's gang war. This is April 1st as well. We see 45 comments. It looks like it's a juicy one. Botched attempt on the life of a Brothers Keepers leader Saturday. Was the second in a week targeting a member, of the gang. I thought it was second in a week for him. The usual, I see he's driving a BMW, black rims. It's so common for these kinds of lads. Just catch up with some messages if anyone. The triads bought Vancouver housing market with the proceeds of crime. When Fish Lips Chrétien was PM, Chrétien moved to China after leaving politics. He moved to China. I didn't know that. That's crazy. There you go. Crazy. Doesn't matter who you vote. They're all somehow doing stuff like this or just ignoring you and collecting paychecks. and they have the best of conditions. They have all the parachute, golden chutes to retire, the best health care. Meanwhile, they're not going to fix yours. The company is giving you 10 days of vacation, and when you want to use them, they're threatening to fire you somehow, gaslighting you. You know what I'm talking about? And these politicians don't put any rules to make it easier for you. They do the opposite. They put more rules for companies to have it easier on you, basically. Like I said, so if someone doesn't have your problems and he's living like a king, a monarch, why do you trust him to solve your problems? If he had it as bad as you, he has the same plan as you, he's struggling like you, maybe then he's going to think twice about fixing this because it'll help him out. But no, they can keep holding on to properties that they have where the majority cannot buy anything, and they don't have a problem seeing prices go up. And if you don't believe that, actions speak louder than words. 40 years, 50 years, let's say 30 to 40 years, they did absolutely nothing. It's not like everything happened in the last 5. It's been happening constantly. This was the track record. Prices going up, becoming exorbitant. They didn't try to do nothing. Of course they weren't. Think about it. The botched attempt on the life of a Brothers Keepers gangster on a busy downtown Vancouver street on Saturday was the second in a week. Yeah, that's what we know. What's his name? Jagraj Atwal. Now, the name Atwal does ring a bell for me, but not anything comes up. But, the Indo-Canadians, they share lots of family names, so it doesn't mean it's someone else related. But anyways, so it was Atwal escaped the injury, as did his passenger at 5:40 p.m. when 2 gunmen ran up and opened rounds as he idled his dark SUV in a lane near Robson and Richards Street. According to surveillance videos and photos posted on social media, Atwal's SUV lurched forward, hit another vehicle after the offers wearing a mask and heavy jackets got out of the white sedan, 2 cars behind Atwal, and started blasting away. The passenger in the targeted SUV jumped out and ran for their life. The attempted offers ran back to their car and fled. Now, believe me, I'd like to press play, but it's just gonna. Yeah, it won't. I like to press play, guys, but this will ding my entire video, and basically I talked for an hour for absolutely nothing. But YouTube's still gonna play the ads. Still gonna bother you. I won't get anything. They'll pocket the difference. It's a real good scam they got going. But if you're looking for it, if you do want to watch it, guys, here's the name of the article. Just Google that and enjoy. Videos of the incident from above looking down onto Robson. I'm assuming this is after, but I'll have to check it out myself too. I haven't seen it. Vancouver Police Sergeant Steve Addison said Monday that there were no updates in the case earlier in the week. He said the target was someone known to police and links to gangs, and the police are concerned about retaliation. So the question is, who put out that hit on this Brothers Keepers? Well, based on the trend we're having, we can just throw a random dart, hope it lands on the UN. Maybe someone who has money to pay people to want to do this, maybe, and maybe that person's somewhere in Thailand, maybe, On March 26, Amandeep Kang, another Brothers Keeper gangster, was wounded, in Surrey's Cloverdale neighborhood. Guys, did you see the name pop up? Now, they're calling him Brothers Keepers. I'm pretty sure this is the last remaining Bibo gang member. They were part of the Brothers Keepers. They separated, and then they started to off each other. So I'm confused why this article says Amandeep Kang, Brothers Keepers. Could it be that the Bibo gangsters have crumbled, and now he somehow got reabsorbed in the BKs? I don't know. I highly, highly, highly doubt that. But fresh news, I didn't know about this. A few days ago, 5 days ago, there was an attempt. Amandeep Kang was wounded, and this probably would not be his first time. Pretty freaking crazy, huh? The last surviving Kang brother. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about, check out International Canadian Gangster, the second one. The latest one, if you will, on the channel. Surrey RCMP said in a news release that a male victim was, I can't say the words, but he was hurt. They didn't name the victim, but Post Media confirmed it was Kang, and he's expected to recover. So is that remember the Kangs were with the Scorpions, the BKs were having fight were offing each other. So we just heard about a BK in this article who they almost offed a BK. But a week ago, they almost offed a Bibo. Could it be that it's not UN, it's these two? They're so close one next to each other. Could it be that it's actually this feud? Continuation of the saga of BK versus Bibo. I have no idea. But just throwing it out there. It would make sense so far if we just took these two events. Last fall, Kang pled guilty in BC Supreme Court for trafficking stupefiers on behalf of an organization, as well as conspiracy to traffic. The charges, which were laid in 2021, stemmed from a 3-year investigation. Yep. Kang admitted that over several months in 2019 and 2020, he peddled Fenty, Black Dragon, M&M, Kane, along with several associates. The case is scheduled to go back in court. So if you're wondering why he's not in prison, I guess that's why. I thought he was still in prison. So I guess he did get released. Now, while he was released, this saga continues. Look at that. Former Solicitor General Cash Heed, a longtime Vancouver police officer, said Monday that the would-be hitmen are likely from out of province, given where they chose to strike. These are hired guns who have no sense of the area that they ran in and no regards for the safety of anyone in the area, Heed said. We haven't seen a brazen public offing in the downtown entertainment area like this for some time. 3 years ago, we're not going to resume this, but you remember Harp Dhaliwal and all of them. The Brothers Keepers are deeply involved in a conflict with Bibo. Yeah, let's skip that part. Part of this conflict is related to attacks that have occurred inside of prison, basically. We know that. There was an incident here. I don't have more to say. He said the officer's white sedan pulled up behind Atwal's black SUV in an alleyway next to Hilton Vancouver Downtown Hotel. I believe when I said there's an Atwal that comes to mind, I think it was a UN underling. I'm not saying he's UN, but one of their underlings, low-hanging fruits. But that's what my memory tells me. But in this case, that's not what they're saying. They're saying this Atwal, probably another one. It's more along BK. Another witness said a woman was crying after being attended by firefighters. Let's keep going. Okay, let's move on to the next story. Nothing to add there. All right, we end here. This will set the mood for the next one we will do. I told you about the big report that has some pretty disturbing, alarming news reports. It's educational. I have to say that as soon as I say that word. It's educational, informational, in order to give news, updates on Canadian criminality, and to educate people. Sorry, my friends. I don't have a choice. So, international reach of Canadian crime groups expanding. Federal report, 4 crime gangs in Western Canada were assessed as being high risk. So, Australian Federal Police escort accused kingpin Tse Chi Lop after he was extradited from Netherlands in December 2022. Chinese-born Canadian citizen was arrested on an Australian warrant while en route to Canada from Taiwan. The number of identified criminal organizations in Canada has increased by almost a third between 2022 and last year. No way. 33% more crime groups between 2022 to 2023. That's insane. Well, funny that it has a lot, that it's also mimicking inflation, at the timings, mimicking inflation. I wonder why it's becoming more profitable than ever. Same with the vehicle thefts. The federal agency, which is responsible for collecting information from police across the country, sent a report that 205 new organized crime groups were added to a list of 638. Dang, man, that's a huge number, a huge increase. Of the group, 8 were assessed as high-level threats, including 4 in central Canada and 4 in the West. That was down from 14 high-level threats in 2022, but the international reach of the top echelon groups last year was broader with a connection in 72 countries. All these countries include those to which Canadian organized crime members have expanded their operations or maintain crime links, including travel that is believed to be intended to solidify their criminal networks. Now, I'll tell you, they are definitely talking about, other countries. They're definitely talking about USA, Canadians, Canadian crime groups. Well, which other countries are they going to? Which countries are they operating loosely in or using other networks in? Guaranteed US, this is a given. Guaranteed Mexico, this is a given. You could probably add Dominican Republic in there. It's a given. In fact, you could also add Australia. I could promise you Australia is going to pop on this because I glanced at the reports that we're going to do next time. I saw it there. Saw the word Australia. And this finding indicates that those groups with international links are continuing to broaden their connections and associations and are establishing or strengthening their networks in every corner of the world. The agency doesn't name the specific criminal organizations, but some of the descriptions match activities within Canada and abroad of BC-based gangs, like the United Nations, Wolfpack, Hells Angels. Does it end here? No, it doesn't. So 123 of these crime groups are assessed medium, while 507 are assessed low. So in total, they looked at 3,500 plus criminal groups, they say. I'm gonna skip the wordiness, the jargon, and the usual stuff. You already know what it's about. You don't need to be bored to death. I'm looking for details here. It is said that 77% of groups have reported collaborative links to others, either directly or via common associates. As in prior years, the 3 most interconnected crime groups include outlaw motorcycle gangs, mafia, and street gangs. Yeah, the more wordiness will scare. Now, fewer than 10% of criminal organizations have access or links to the public sector to further their criminal activities or to have attempted to corrupt or infiltrate the public sector agencies and departments. Now, you've been following our channel. We saw a report, Hells Angels, Port of Vancouver, so they're going to be one. We have, I don't have anything that comes to mind, but you can be sure the Italian Mafia is going to be one of those. The Irish Westies, back then at least, we know they had links for Port of Montreal, so they had to corrupt people there. For Mafia, fine, one of them did come up, but it would count. Back in the days, Giuseppe De Vito with the port of the airport of Montreal, but that's a weak one, it was like one, or it wasn't a bunch of people they corrupted. It was like 1 or 2, but you could be sure they have a lot more. That's not why I included it. I included there's way more. The mafia has a much bigger tentacle. So when I say fewer than 10%, those 3, you can be sure of that. You could be guaranteed those 3 are there. But the report said sectors that are more attractive to corruption attempts include law enforcement, border services, and correctional services. That's got to be huge. As well as employees at international ports who facilitate the import. This is going to be the most important one for us, because we're talking about stupefires a lot. You can bet this is what they want the most. Nothing more profitable than stupefires. They can then sell you at an extremely inflated price. This price control on the black market is ridiculous. It's disgusting. No matter how much you buy, it's still very expensive, extremely expensive. It doesn't even make sense to me, man. It's purely price control. A commodity like that shouldn't be priced at freaking $100, 120 for like 1G. Get out of here, man. Being exploited big time. But the acting director of the okay, yeah, skip this part. Yeah, it's more wordiness. But good conclusion here. As street gangs increasingly expand their capabilities, networks, and scopes, the risk of interprovincial and international, is heightened due to the intrinsically violent nature of these groups and their propensity for indiscriminate acts. You know that. But yes, they've been becoming more and more sophisticated. Street gangs. You call them that. They've been, especially the Western Canada part. Definitely. Now they're running stuff across the country. They're not even inside the country. They're running operations. You can't. It's like a movie, man. All right, we're gonna leave it there. Tomorrow, or I'll give you guys time to digest these, and we'll continue with the rest, with the real. So all we did today, just to refresh. So the next one, we can appreciate what we're reading more. We can definitely appreciate it instead of just jumping right in. It's gonna give us. It gave out today. It gave us some background information indirectly. Indirectly. Captain Little Potato Justine wears Barbie socks. And 33 Freemasons love that number, 33 degrees, and age Jesus died to mock him. Forger, I can put the offing video link in the chat if you want me to. Yeah, sure, buddy. Sorry, I didn't see your message. If you want, man, I'll give you a few moments, but I think it's too late. You're probably not gonna notice me telling you this right now by the end of the video. Sorry, dude. I was so busy on the article, I did not check the messages until it was too late. You can always post it in the comment if you want. Don't feel like you need to if you forget, or don't take that as a homework, dude. Do if you want to, you do it whenever you want, or you don't do it and it doesn't matter, dude. I appreciate the offer though. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And like I said, remember, next one, it's going to be very, very important. Finally, we're going to get some real juicy updates. It's going to explain to us where this whole thing's been going. We talked about, right now, we just read that they said as street gangs evolve, they'll be able to become more interconnected. They will basically they will surprise us even more type of thing. Oh, yeah. You're gonna see you're gonna see where this rabbit hole leads. So far, where it has led us to. And shout out to Adriana, DJ, Respecting Hip Hop, Middleman, Will Hildebrand, Horses Malone, Ken Jacobs, DC, Javier Latin, Monkey Man Productions. Hey, buddy. Sorry, I didn't see your message earlier. What's up, pal? Thank you so much, man. Shout out to London, Ontario, bro. And Freedom Prospector as well. And Sam Gore, DJ. And yeah, hope I didn't miss anyone else. But all you silent bunch too. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, DJ. Oh, thanks. DJ posted it. Thanks a lot, buddy. You're the man, bro. He saw it right on time. So if you guys wanted to see that video we're talking about, he posted the link. The video we saw in this article that I couldn't press play. You know why? Well, there's someone posted on another YouTube. I guess just that video. You guys can enjoy it. Thank you. Thank you for offering DJ, man. Thanks so much. Have a great day, guys.